I get real angry when someone says, $4 an hour when they have no idea what it's like to try to live on $4.25 an hour.
(1985), a secret government plan to ship nuclear waste to Tennessee. Bart Gordon discovered the secret plan, and by working with Democrats and Republicans, Bart kept Tennessee from becoming a nuclear waste dump.
I don't want radioactive waste on Tennessee highways. So when 3 presidents have tried to put a nuclear dump in Tennessee, I've led the fight to stop them every time. It doesn't make the people in Washington happy, but I've never forgotten where I came from and who I worked for.
Bart Gordon, in touch. They lined up like robots, agreeing to cut Medicare and increase the deficit to give tax breaks to the wealthy. And there he is. Nashville lawyer Steve Gill went to Washington, signed this contract, and picked up a big check from special interests as a reward. The Tennessean called the contract a raid on the budget. The Wall Street Journal said it's a fraud. And the Council of Senior Citizens says the contract will ruin the economy and rob seniors of their Social Security and Medicare benefits. When Steve Gill signed up, he sold us out.
I see college students, especially here in Murfreesboro, that they make more than $4 an hour, and they're still having a hard time making ends meet.
Who is Steve Gill?
Nashville lawyer Steve Gill was against a minimum wage increase because he says $4 an hour is enough for us.
Maybe Steve Gill ought to try to raise his family on $4 an hour.
And Gill says college grants for middle-class students are a bad idea.
College grants are the only hope that some students have.
Nashville lawyer Steve Gill, out of touch, because he's not one of us.
Steve Gill just doesn't get it.
What I did say was that $4 goes a lot further down here than it does in Washington.
Steve Gill is not one of the working people, or he would not say that. There's no way anybody can live on $4.25.
Nashville lawyer Steve Gill has attacked Bart Gordon for voting for a small increase in the minimum wage. Gill works in this downtown Nashville building where he makes $150 an hour. But for us, Gill doesn't even think there should be a minimum wage.
$4 goes a lot further down here than it does in Washington.
Really? Steve Gill takes $150 an hour for himself, but says $4 an hour is enough for you. Steve Gill's wrong. Wrong for us.
Steve Gill is out of touch with the way families live.
Paid for by the Congressman Bart Gordon Committee.
In downtown Nashville, in a tall building made of glass and steel, is the office of Nashville lawyer Steve Gill. Steve Gill makes $150 an hour, yet he's attacked Bart Gordon for voting in favor of even a small increase in the minimum wage. Steve Gill takes $150 an hour for himself, but says $4 an hour is enough for you. And Gill's running for Congress by saying he's against any minimum wage. Listen to what Gill said.
$4 and $4.50 an hour in some of the rural communities goes a lot further than $4 or $4.50 an hour does in Washington, D.C.
Really? Ask yourself, what kind of person could make $150 an hour for himself and then say that working people should be content with $4 an hour? Steve Gill peers down from his office of glass and steel and tells us that working people need to tighten their belts. And that means Steve Gill is wrong. Wrong to run a negative campaign against Bart. Wrong on the minimum wage, and wrong for us. No wonder Steve Gill's out of touch. Nashville lawyer Steve Gill works in this downtown Nashville building where he makes $150 an hour. At Gill's Nashville home, guards patrolled and a work crew mowed his lawn. And Gill moved into this huge house just to run for Congress. But Steve Gill is against the minimum wage.
$4 goes a lot further down here.
Really? Steve Gill takes $150 an hour for himself, but says $4 an hour is enough for you. Steve Gill's wrong. Wrong for us.
Anybody that's making 4 1/4 usually has to have 2 paychecks coming in. If somebody's working on expects to get by on 4 1/4, they're going to have to work a lot of overtime, and then they wouldn't be with their families.